All right, all right, all right. Everybody, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Ooh, echoes.
Ooh, echoes and delays.
Oh man, just when we think we have it figured out, we don't.
We were so meticulous in our timing today.
How's that? I think it's starting to good.
I don't hear an echo. I think there's just a delay.
Yeah, I think it's good now.
Ooh, I think you're right.
Nice.
Welcome to the well, folks.
Welcome everybody. The never-ending tech difficulties of the well.
You continue to get to see what not our strengths are.
And we're
Hi,
we're
Goddess Princess.
hello. We're
Hello,
okay with the messiness.
Candace.
That's what this is. Hey, Candace.
Hi, guys. Well, welcome to the well. So the well is bite-sized wisdom bits that are here to support you in sustaining the journey ahead that we're all in as it pertains to the pandemic, as it pertains to life,
Parenthood,
within a
entrepreneurs.
pandemic, entrepreneurship, business growth, personal growth, financial growth, professional growth, or simply just surviving if growth isn't really your thing right now. That's
Yep.
also okay too.
It's allowed. It's
So
allowed.
my name is Emily. I am a transformational leader, life guide, and business coach and consultant. And the lovely Jomar and I met a few years ago now, I think. About that, 2
At
years
least
ago?
2 plus, maybe 3.
Yeah, at a
Yeah.
coaching event in Los Angeles. And now we've decided to team up for the last, 6, 7 months, bringing you guys the well. And we're committed to being here with you all through the journey of 2021. And without further ado, this is my colleague, peer, and friend, Mr. Jomar Gomez.
Thanks, Em. Hello, everybody. Jomar here. I'm a transformative and mental performance coach. I help people wake up to these unconscious thinking and behavior patterns that have them feeling drained as they go about achieving what they want to achieve. And when we work together, the draining feeling goes away. It's enlivening and more fun.
Sounds like people allowing themselves to be fully alive, and life left alone wants to be the fullest expression of itself.
Oh yeah.
So today our topic is, go for it.
Yes. Yeah. Today we prep on this stuff sometimes, I guess. Not really. But we were about to have a conversation about this right before. And I said, why don't we just pause as we suss this out and let's just do it right on the live. And so that's what we're doing for you on, what's a great tip to add to our morning routine? Well, we'll talk about that and we'll see if an idea comes up for you.
Thanks for the question,
Princess. Thanks for the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about results, goals, what it takes to achieve them. And really the idea came out from me and the impossible goal that I'm setting for myself this year by the end of June 2021 and my relationship to impossible goals. And I feel myself getting edgy because we were like, are we going to talk about my possible goals? So I'm just going to sit with that edginess without walking all the way into it. Anyway, there's this impossible goal that I've set. Maybe I'll reveal it. Maybe I won't.
I thought you were fully going to reveal it.
We'll see.
Leaving everybody on the edge of their seats now.
We'll see. We'll pin that and we'll go from it. What's important to know is there's an impossible goal, right? And then I had been playing with this in my mind this year. And I told them, I was like, hey, let's talk about, what it takes to achieve goals. And we were talking about what is our relationship to goals. And then I had said that I've done these impossible goals before, but for some reason, this one sat differently, right? It's sitting differently for me. It's feeling differently for me. I've set out to achieve different ones, but this one has a different sort of settledness in the gut, overall body, heart area, and the way even trying to go about achieving it feels different. And
you asked me, what do I think that is?
Yes, yeah. So you said.
And I said, I think that to me sounds like commitment. So, that may have been not the answer that you were looking for, but what it sounded like to me was that you have stepped into a commitment. And that's sometimes why perhaps you're feeling like a little uneasy, or you notice that like heart space, and so then it inspired me to want to read something on commitment. So I'm going to do that. It's very short. Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality. It's the words that speak boldly of your intentions and the actions which speak louder than the words. It is making the time when there is none, coming through time after time, year after year after year. Commitment is the stuff character is made of, the power to change the face of things. It's the daily triumph of integrity over skepticism. And that's Shearson Lehman.
Love it. Watch that in the replay and type it out and Google it when you come back
Your
to
mama's
this.
here. Hi, Meritess.
Hi, Mama. So I said yes. So basically I responded. I was like, yes, it is that. And there was more. And that's when we pause. So
because
right now,
decided that was going to be a really juicy conversation to bring to the well.
Yes. So right now, that's where we're at. So it's like, yes, it is that. And it's something else that's sitting differently for me. And I was trying to suss that out. And yes, it is commitment. And there's this different, I can't explain, but there's a different attachment to this impossible goal. I think it's rooted in a vision that's bigger than myself. So it's not just about me. So there is that as well happening. So that when I go out and talk to folks about this, I'm not just going out and saying, hey, here's my impossible goal. Let this be about me. Help me. When I talk to folks about my impossible goal, I tell them like what I'm ultimately up to. And that is helping people wake up to this reality in which they can make things happen in their lives that does not have to be draining. It can actually be an enlivening, very full, and very present to the moment by moment by moment unfolding experience of it. And I think if I'm doing that for others, it's as if I'm like proving that to myself that I can also do that in this impossible goal this year. So there's that dynamic to it. And there's also the other dynamic of ultimately the outcomes happening are not up to me. Like whether they happen or not in the world, I cannot control that. So if that goal's out there, whether that comes true, I have zero control over that. And yet there's this sort of like deeper certainty in me that something will happen. It might be that. And I'm going to have fun playing towards that. So there's sort of like a trans level of attachment to that goal. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I want to push back a little bit on one thing.
Yeah.
I would push back on the fact that you have no control of whether or not those things, whether or not that outcome occurs. Because here's the way I see outcomes, or to relate it to our title. Here's where I see like
achievement,
being able to achieve,
yeah,
to come to fruition, to creating achievement, to achieving something,
right?
And that is that there's your circumstances, right, or the events in your life, particularly those of which you don't have any control over, right? That's where I would assert that you don't have any control over certain circumstances or events occurring in your life,
right?
And then there is a variable on how you respond to those circumstances and events that you don't have any control over. You respond to those in a certain way. And I believe that the way in which you respond to the uncontrollables is actually what can influence the outcome. So actually, I think this comes from Jack Canfield, has like this equation for living, which is E plus R equals O. Your event plus your response equals the outcome. And so when I think about wanting to achieve something, or when I think about the outcome of something, I'm always allowing that to influence how I respond to the things that I can't control. When I'm committed to a specific vision, when I'm committed to a specific outcome, I use that to inform myself on how I need to respond to an event or a circumstance beyond my control.
Right. That part, I agree. There is some sense of quote unquote control in which how you show up, and then that dynamic. And then after that, there's then again, all right, well, whether it comes true or not, I can't like snap my fingers whether it's going to happen. So I think that's what I'm trying to describe. It's sort of that dance, that tension, that sort of back and forth within all of that.
So how that occurs for me, what I hear you say in that, and this is just my perspective, I'm not committed to being right, is you know, a little bit more meta, a little bit more spiritual, and that is that, like, you know, it's this, you know, constant inquiry of whether, like, do we actually have free will, or like, you know, can fate and destiny actually be influenced, or is this, you know, maybe it's an and, maybe it's not an or is this idea that we get to just like surrender to life fully, like the thing that's actually available for us, like while still being in aligned action and, you know, maybe not becoming like a hermit in the woods or whatever, what have you. And this idea that, like, you know, there's actually sort of this foundation about like being really tuned in to like, what is my purpose? You know, is your purpose actually this goal that I'm privy to that you want to achieve by June, right? Like, is that actually in the highest and greatest good and in alignment for who you are as a person on the planet with your purpose, right? And if it is, then great. So I mean, we could go on for so long. These are supposed to just be tidbits, little bite-sized wisdom bits. We're going deep today, folks.
I think yes, there is a greater dynamic at play here, and I think what you touched on there is it's not either or, it's both and.
I agree.
It's both and.
Yeah. And at its core, it really is about coming into the greatest alignment possible for like who we are as individuals on the planet and what our fullest expression of our life and our life purpose is.
Yep. Yeah, and it depends. It feels very esoteric.
Yeah, that was the word
it is.
To mind.
It is. Yeah. It's super esoteric. But then when I show up to my business on a daily basis, I ground it in something. I talk to people. I'm like, I'm doing that, and then it becomes a very real, like, you know, I'm just a dude building a business, and I think this business makes a difference. So there is sort of that connection to that can be grounded into our day to day.
I have a girlfriend, Sarah Norrad, and she refers to it as sacred service. Like, and I refer to it as like this like, and I can identify with like being a soulpreneur, right? Like, there is an element of my soul in my business. There is an element of my spirituality in my business. And actually there's this beautiful thing possible when we're willing to like marry those things. And for me personally, that's what like my fullest alignment, my fullest purpose is, that.
Yeah.
And how I just continue to do that at a deeper and a deeper level.
And I would add that this doesn't just apply in the world of coaching. You can, I'm a big believer that whatever line of work that you're in, even if you're not working, even if your work is in the service of being a non-working parent right now, there is sort of that magic that can happen there where this greater alignment manifests itself in the day-to-day, and all of a sudden the day-to-day is more meaningful. Even if it's the mundane, even if it's the most mundane things, it can be meaningful.
That just warms my heart.
That's it. Let's do it.
I think that's a great place to wrap.
Love it.
Let's just, Buddhist Princess, if you're still here and you say, you asked, what is a great tip to add to our morning routine? I am going to not answer your question, but rather give you an inquiry. And that was, based on what you heard today, what would be something that you could do each morning that you know, or that you feel would bring you back into alignment with your purpose, would bring you back into at least being curious about what the fullest expression of you as an individual on the planet is, whether you're working or not. What's one thing that you can do that you know reminds you and brings you back into a deeper alignment? Maybe that's a meditation. Maybe that's really consciously drinking a glass of water. Maybe it is, you know, putting a certain set of tones or frequencies on while you're in the shower. You get to be the designer of that. I hope that's helpful. I really love not answering questions directly because I think that it is bespoke. It is really that the answer that's right for you is going to be catered to you. The only way that that answer is going to be sustainable is actually if you generate it. I hope that gives you some food for thought.
And I would add something more practical is brush your teeth with your offhand.
Cool. Love that.
Awesome.
See, both and.
Both and. Alrighty.
Okay, folks, we will see you next week.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.